thankful to be in your viewing environment. But I want to say to all of our new listeners and viewers, I am Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center, located at 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, at the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road. Pardon me, there is parking on Hillcrest, and we are the brown brick building located right on the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road in Wilmington, Delaware. Service begins at 10 a.m. We invite you, if you're in our area, to come and worship with us. Come and experience a better quality of life. If you're not in our area, you can tune in for the Sunday sermon at 10:45 a.m. on Sunday mornings. We go live on both Facebook Live and YouTube Live every Sunday morning at 10:45 a.m. But if you're in our area, you really need to come and experience a better quality of life at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, at the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road in Wilmington, Delaware. And today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, as always, is brought to you by Fiji Water. You may already know that Fiji Water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock. The water collects in a natural artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. And so I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, we actually yesterday had with us our 3D contributor, Rebecca Buva, who was with us for the entire broadcast yesterday to respond to all of the questions that you might have regarding health and wellness and diet and nutrition. And so we were delighted to have her with us. As always, you can actually now view her website at BeccaTheDietitian.com. She now has her website launched. That was just recently launched this past month. So I'm excited for her, but I'm thankful that she was here to address all of your questions. And as I said yesterday, we are really impressed by all of the communications that people continue sending in after every broadcast that she's with us to talk about health and wellness. We want you to be healthy in body, mind, and spirit. And so I want to, as always, thank Becca for being with us. Rebecca Buva is a licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. And you can reach her at her website at Becca the Dietitian. And of course, she will be with us again the first Thursday of December. So you don't want to miss that. Tune in. And I will tell you that I'll just share with you. I had 45 communications from people in the first 2 hours after our broadcast yesterday. So do not think that we won't be pulling the information from all of your communications and those who reach out to us. Just know that we will respond to your questions when Becca is with us again in December. So tune in the first Thursday of every month for Becca the Dietitian. And I want to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. But before I do that, I want to say to everyone who continues giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life Delaware, and those of you that have made a monthly commitment to support the broadcast, we thank you for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here because God is concerned about that which concerns you. So you can call every day now, or call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are feeling exhausted and you're starting to feel overwhelmed. However, you have less activity going on than normal. So you don't feel that you have as much work that is overwhelming you. You don't feel that your personal life, so your personal and professional life are not, you don't feel that you should be overwhelmed by them because you have less activity. But the truth of the matter is that when you feel exhausted, it will then also make you feel overwhelmed. So we have to do better. We have to make certain that we are first of all, getting the appropriate amount of rest, and secondly, that we are eating right, that we're getting the proper nutrition, that we are taking multivitamins, whatever vitamins are necessary. We need to really work on our body and our mind and spirit, but we have to work on our health and wellness. So, as I mentioned, Rebecca Buva was with us yesterday, our monthly contributor, who is a licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. So some of the things that she went through yesterday will help us, even though, yesterday's topic was about diabetes, because this is Diabetes Awareness Month. She just addressed how eating habits will change our metabolism, how we should be using some weights. And one of the things she said yesterday that I thought was profound is, we all know this, or we should know this, and that is women will always say, well, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to bulk up. And as she mentioned yesterday, women are not necessarily built to bulk up. You're not going to bulk up unless you are trying to compete in a weight environment, a weight training environment where it's competitive. You're not going to bulk up just by doing minor weights. You're not going to bulk up by doing floor exercises, by doing push-ups. So you really want to make certain that, first of all, you're getting enough rest, because she talked about that also. And I will say this, I'm a big component of getting enough rest. I don't always, and sometimes you have to keep it real and share with others and be open also. I don't always get the rest that I should get, meaning I don't always get a minimum of 8 hours of sleep. There are some days where I get very busy and I'm really focused on completing everything that needs to be completed for the day, that I might get 7 hours of sleep now. Now, before I became a pastor, I wasn't, when I was in the corporate world, I wasn't running on, the right amount of sleep, the appropriate amount of sleep. But now I understand the necessity. So we get older, we get hopefully wiser, and when you know better, you do better. So, I try now to get at least a minimum of 7 hours of sleep. And my goal is to get 8 hours of sleep, and anything beyond that I can get, I'm happy about. So we have to really get enough rest so that we don't get those moments of feeling overwhelmed. And that's exactly what will happen. You will become exhausted, and because of the exhaustion, you start to feel overwhelmed. You start to lose some of your productivity. We want to make certain that we are performing at peak performance, that we are maximizing our performance. And the only way to do that is to ensure that, first of all, we're getting enough rest. So you're going to, and God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life, that is really what's going on with you. First of all, you're not getting enough rest. You think that your sleep pattern is broken, but your sleep pattern really isn't broken. You're just not getting enough rest. And I've never seen the inside of your bedroom, but I can tell you this. God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. You not only do you turn on the television in your bedroom before you go to bed, but you leave the television on. And you're not the first person I've heard of doing this, but you leave the television on throughout the night. You are not going to get a good sound sleep with the television on during the night. You fall asleep with it on, and you don't even bother to turn it off if you wake up in the middle of the night. So you have to recognize that you are not getting the appropriate amount of rest. And then secondly, you go to bed late and you get up early. Now, many of us have had that problem over the course of our lifetime, where we go to bed late knowing that we have to get up early. So I'll give you an example. I said last evening I was going to bed immediately after Bible study concluded. So we have Bible study on Thursday nights, and Bible study is from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. Well, when Bible study ended, I immediately did what was necessary to get myself positioned to prepare for bed, to do my nightly hygiene, and brush, floss, rinse, that whole routine that we do at night. And then I got in bed and I slept through the night till morning. And by the time I woke up this morning, I had actually gotten 9 hours of sleep. And I slept through the night. And the reason that I'm saying that is because it's important that we get as much rest as we possibly can. I'm not suggesting that you want to sleep half the day away, but I am suggesting that you want to make certain that you're getting the appropriate amount of rest. And if we can do that, we're going to make certain that our body stays in rhythm to perform. Now, the reason that I did that is because I knew that this morning it was going to be a run day. So I wanted to make sure that I was rested enough so that my body could get in rhythm while I was out running this morning. You've got to make sure that we're doing all of the necessary things to be successful and to perform at a high level. So, I did all of those things, and now today I feel as though I'm prepared to perform at the highest level that I possibly can. And I'm no different than you in that sense. You've got to reduce your exhaustion by getting more rest. And then you've got to, eat right. So I asked a question yesterday that was a spinoff of one of the other questions that someone had for Becca the dietitian. And that was that, do we need to have a consistent eating pattern? And she recommended that we do, that you have a consistent eating pattern of specific times that you're going, that window that you're going to fit within, that you're going to open and close. I'm going to start eating at this time, I'm going to finish at this time, so that our body gets in a rhythm, our metabolism gets in a rhythm. So you can go on her site, her website, and you can see additional information about health and wellness, about diet and nutrition at BeccaTheDietitian.com. And so I'm going to encourage you to just get more rest, try and eat to get the right amount of nutrition necessary to fuel your body, and then you'll begin to eliminate some of the feeling of being overwhelmed when you don't have anything additional being added onto your schedule and certain things have been reduced. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you over into our queue where you can experience T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your T-Mobile bill at T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you recently found out that you were adopted due to health reasons. You found out that you were adopted. And although your parents say that they are open, they're okay with you getting in contact with your biological father and mother, you say that you really have no desire to get to know them because they've never reached out to you previously. Here's what you need to know. First of all, health and wellness is critically important. And if it's something that is a ongoing health issue that you need to, like, for example, transplant, if you were to need that, and praise God, that's not your situation. You just found out because you had to do something with your health, and you found out that your parents, who have raised you since you were a small child, and that's all you've ever known. You found out that they weren't your biological parents, but at the end of the day, you understand that because they've raised you your entire life, that they are your parents, and you're satisfied with that. Your parents are okay with it if you desire to contact your biological father and mother, who you found out are still living. However, if you have no desire and there's no medical need to get in touch with them, you don't have to feel obligated to get to know them. That's not required of you. It is only if you desired to get to know them that you would pursue to get to know them. And you have decided that you are quite content just the way your life is today. And I think you should just explain that to your parents. And their only concern, just so you know, it's not so that they can, set aside any responsibility in your life as a young adult, but their only concern was if it's something you want to do, that they want to support you. They want to be supportive. They are okay with you wanting to know your father, your biological father, and your mother. If it's not your desire, you're not required by law or anyone else. You are not required to pursue a relationship with them. And since they have not contacted you, it's not necessary for you to pursue a relationship with them. Family dynamics are always very challenging in any family, and unless you have the perfect family. And what I've found over the course of life is that there's no such thing as a perfect family, and the reason there's no such thing as a perfect family is because there are people in it. You don't get to choose family, but you do get to choose friends. But you have a choice because you have a family that has raised you, has supported you, has been there every step of the way with you. And now you're in your 20s, your late 20s, but you're in your 20s, and you had this health concern, and now you find out that you were adopted. And you've accepted the fact of why your parents have never discussed you being adopted. You don't feel, you're not going through those emotions that some people go through of feeling a sense of betrayal because you weren't betrayed. They didn't find it necessary to tell you that you were adopted because your biological father or mother have never been present. You have no relationship with them. So they didn't find it necessary, and you understand that. So now it's all about your desire. What do you want to ensure that you enjoy your quality of life? So don't feel stressed about not wanting to get to know them. The only thing you have to be concerned about is your health. And if you ever required a transplant, then you need to know that, there's a possibility that you're going to have to find someone who is capable of providing you with what you need. That's what biological family members. But because you've had no relationship with them, I wouldn't even expect them to come through for that. You might just have to get matched with someone else, an unknown person. Because truth be told, they're unknown also. And your biggest thing is that you felt that maybe your parents would think something different of you because you don't want to get to know your biological father and mother. Let me tell you, those two people, and I don't know them, you're not in my area, I have never met them, but those two people have loved you unconditionally for your entire life. And I understand why you feel the way you do about being satisfied that you have two parents who love you without condition, even though you were not biologically born of them. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, you can stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could need. They have suits, shirts, ties, accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you are not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you received an inheritance from your parents after the passing of your mother this year, earlier, I should say, in the year. However, you indicated that you do not want to keep your parents home, and what should you do with the inheritance? So here's what I'm going to say to you. Right now is a good time to put the home on the market. Okay, you're dealing with all of the emotions of, the passing of your mother. Your father had already passed previously. God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life that you were living in a rental property that was a townhouse and in the region that you're in. And now you have since moved into your parents' home, but you don't want to stay in the home. You've inherited the home. That's part of your inheritance. The major part of your inheritance. So this is a good time to begin to prepare the home to be put on the market. Now here's what I'm going to say to you. Because you're in a region that is a warmer climate consistently, you actually have time to, I realize you get some cold temperatures from time to time, but you could actually put the home on the market a little earlier than someone in my region, for example, where we have to time things because of the winter. And people, aren't moving around looking at properties as often in the winter, even though now you can do virtual viewings. There's still factors that are involved in your geographical location. But at least, if nothing else, over the next few months, you can prep the home, get what needs to be done corrected, so that you can then put the home on the market. And if you're not going to do a lot of additional work, you have to be prepared to put it on the market with some minor work as is. But either way, you're going to receive a financial benefit from the sale of the property. Here's what you need to know. You do want to own a home. And over the next few months, you will be able to sell the home, and in the interim, you need to start looking for a home, because what you will receive from the sale of the home your parents have left you is going to be enough for you to put down a down payment on a new home for yourself when you take out your mortgage. And because right now mortgage rates are low, you now can take advantage of the lower rates. So this is really the time for you to start preparing to make that transition. Everything is about timing. Everything in life is about timing. There's a time for every purpose. There's an appointed time. I regret to hear of the passing of your mother. Your father has passed previously, a couple of years ago. You didn't tell me that in your communication. You did mention that your mother passed earlier this year. So I regret to hear of the passing of your mother. You have our sympathy and our prayers. However, your parents did something that will now bless your life. And I understand that you really don't want to live in the home that your parents left you. And they would be okay with that. What they did was provide you with an opportunity so that you could sell their home and that you could then have money for a down payment on your own home that you would like to own. To God be the glory. You've been blessed. You need to walk into that blessing, walk in that blessing and favor, and take advantage of the right timing. Because this is your time to experience the fullness of God, the blessing that your parents have provided for you. And to God be the glory. I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers today, it's real important that we focus on our health and wellness. That's the reason that we had Becca, the dietitian, on the broadcast yesterday as our monthly contributor to ensure that we are all healthy and well in our body, mind, and spirit. So she was with us yesterday. You can go back and view the archives. We are archived, of course, on our app and on our website for 365 days. But we are now live on Facebook and YouTube live. So we now are being archived forevermore. Go back and view the broadcast if you missed yesterday, because something that was said will bless your life. So I'm going to encourage everyone to tune in every first Thursday of the month when we are joined by Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. And you can go to her website and you can see recipes, you can see guidance on health and wellness. You can even contact her at BeccaTheDietitian.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are having difficulty, or you've had difficulty trying to get your adult children to understand the importance of planning for the future instead of living for today. So let me say this to you and to every other parent out there. We've all had that experience at some point in time, unless your children have decided that they're working towards building a future. So many young people today are just, and I know I sound old when I say that probably, but so many people of the generation behind us are living for today because they have fear of missing out on something. The reality is that we have to recognize that we've all made some plans for provisions, for future provisions for our children, our adult children. Stop right there. Just stop the madness. Stop trying to convince ourselves that we can get them to start thinking about the future, because they're just not going to do that. One of the things we are going to have to do is stop being the point of contact when they don't do what's necessary to provide for themselves today, and they do what they want to do and then expect all of us to provide for their needs. You know, we've talked about this over the years, and one of the things, no one's ever going to come to you and say, can you give me money to go on vacation? They're going to go on vacation, and then they're going to come back and tell you that they can't pay their rent. They can't make a car payment. And we think that we have to bail them out because we're the parent. We think that we have to give them what they need when they've wasted what they needed on what they want. Now, for those of us who are, children are working and functioning and doing what they're supposed to do, it doesn't mean that they're still not going to, some of them aren't going to live for today and not be concerned about the future. It just means that that's what they do. So all we can do is make future provisions for them and then stop right there and realize that they're going to do what they're going to do. We're going to stop stressing ourselves out about how they do it, how they live their lives, and allow them to experience the consequences and the results of what they choose to do.